Yankee catcher ever to lead off on opening day, getting comfy. Wells, third pitch of the season, sneaks one over the short porch, 348 feet, a home run there and nowhere else. Yankees out in front 1-0 in a hurry. A lot of history in that one. First catcher with a leadoff home run on opening day in big league history. First leadoff home run on opening day in Yankee history. Bottom two, same score. Volpe going that way as well. Takes the high fastball the other way in his first of the season. Only 12 a year ago. Yankees off to the 2-0 start. Top three, Vinny Capra leading off. Taking Carlos Rodon up and out to left. Brewers cut that lead in half. Capra's first career home run. Coming off a hot spring, had 6 long balls. Rodon no longer clean-shaven, such as the Yankee ways these days. Covering his bag as he stumbles over first, and a scary scene there, sort of stuck his foot into the bag. And we know that he's getting that opening day start due to Garrett Cole's inavailability for the remainder of this season. Would remain in the game and would fall right into a groove. Capra swinging, Bryce Turang got it, Jackson Chourio, smell ya. Rodon strikes out the side, fans 7 over 5 1/3. The judge still looking for his first verdict of the season, and there it is, off the bag, gets the bounce. Gonna plate Ben Rice. An RBI double for Judge. Yankees out in front 3-1. Now to the 9th. A 4-1 Yankee advantage. They bring in their new closer, the bearded former Brewer, Devin Williams. After back-to-back hits and a walk to start his Yankee debut, Bryce Turang gonna be a sac fly to left center. Brewers cut it to 4-2. Next batter, tying run now on second, full count. Starting to get the stuff working. Chourio, a day to forget. 0 for 5, 5 Ks. Yikes. Next batter, Christian Yelich, the last gasp. And they come up empty. Williams gets out of the jam. Yankees win it 4-2. Game 2 coming your way Saturday afternoon. That's a former Yankee, Nestor Cortez, taking the mound for the Brew Crew.
Juan Soto officially making his debut as a New York Met. The $765 million man looking to start his season off strong, making $140,000 per day. That's what his deal pays him. On the road against the Astros, first AB and his first hit with the Mets. Welcome to the ball club. Now hits some home runs. Later in the inning, runners on second and third, 2 outs for Brandon Nimmo. Into left, Jose Altuve, Jake Myers coming on. Altuve makes the catch, making his first start left after a rough spring training in the outfield. Bottom 3, 2-0 Houston, and make it 3-0 because Luis Angel Acuna, bad throw. He made the team in place of the injured Jeff McNeil. Francisco Lindor said on the record that Acuna played, quote, bored during spring training, off to a tough start. Framber Valdez going strong through 5 here in the 6th. That's in. He wanted it. Yeah, that was a ball. The at-bat goes on. Next pitch to Mark Vientos. And Valdez wins this battle. Double play to end the inning. After the inning, Valdez and Andy Fletcher. Hey, where was that pitch? Yeah, it was a little in. Okay, we're all good. Top 7, runner on first, 2 outs. Valdez facing Acuna, looking for some redemption. 3! That would end his outing. 7 scoreless, scatters 4 hits, 4 strikeouts. Mets generate some traffic in the 8th. Bases loaded, 2 out. Big spot for Brandon Nimmo. Can you deliver? No. Flies out to center. Mets strand the bases loaded. Mets rally in the 9th, and look who's coming up. Down 3-1, runners on the corners, 2 outs. Juan Soto, can you be a hero? Nope. Josh Hader gets him. Astros hang on 3-1. Soto in his first game with the Mets, 1 for 3, 2 walks, and the strikeout. Here's Soto on his first game with New York.
As you always are, and you were the whole game. Is there any element to that when you're up that you badly want to do something in that spot?
We all want to do something in a big spot. You know, we all trying to get the nog and try to bring the runs in and try to help the team either way. But for me, I don't mind taking a walk right there. You know, it's Pete behind me, and he's really good power hitter, so I think we have a better chance right there. Lefty-righty matchup. He just got me in that situation. For us, I was expecting to win the game, but yeah, definitely it's not how we want it. Sometimes the game, you know, they are a really good team over there, and they come in and grind. For me, it's a good experience. These guys are amazing. We've been having a good time since spring training, so we just got to bring that all the way.
Plenty of ball left to play. Mets were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position, 10 left on base. You don't want to be striking out to end the game, but sometimes it happens. That's baseball, Susan. This is the old team. The Mets with back-to-back losses in season openers for the first time since '99 and 2000, but that's also not a bad thing. They went to the NLCS in '99, and they reached the World Series in 2000. Perhaps a sign of things to come. Duke on to the Elite Eight for the second year in a row. Had to earn it. Cooper flag to Sion James. Bottom of your screen, bottom of the net. And Duke 100-93 the final. Cooper flag pours in 30 points. Caleb Love goes for 35 in his final college game. What an effort he gave. Look, Duke down the stretch could not buy a bucket. They missed so many shots late. They didn't have a field goal for the final 4 minutes of this game. They seal it at the free throw line, which I always say, make your free throws, kids. They were 23 of 27 in this game. They win by 7. They advance to play Alabama in the Elite Eight. Back here in studio, we are 4 wide. Hakeem Dermish here with Adam Finkelstein, Hunter Dickinson, Tim Doyle. Hunter, you saw this game and how Duke dominated early. They had enough of a lead to absorb that run by Arizona. What did you see from the Blue Devils here, led by Cooper Flagg's 30?
Yeah, Cooper Flagg's 30. I mean, he only had 30, 6 and 7. Tim kind of mentioned it where he's just going to have a complete game. He really dominated the game, but I think James was the X factor, you know, scoring 16 points, going 3 of 4 from 3. You know, Adam mentioned it before. Their starters really carried them tonight. They had the majority, the bulk of the points, and I think that was huge for Duke where, you know, I think Shire might have lied. He said he wanted to slow down the game. I think he might have lied to us. He did not slow it down at all. It was a very fast-paced game.
Were you concerned about the fact they didn't make a field goal over the final 4 minutes?
No, I'm more impressed that Arizona could have easily just waved the white towel. Like, Duke shot 60% from the field. They were 11 of 19 from 3. Cooper was getting in the lane. Like, they could have just been like, oh, something like this is going to be. They scored 100 points.
Yep.
But Caleb Love, before the game, we all touched upon it. If Arizona was going to be competitive, he had to be north of 25. Well, he was that, and I think Tommy Lloyd's squad could, like, leave this game holding their head extremely high. They showed a ton of fight. They went out, they guarded Proctor. He was outstanding from 3 coming into this game. They limited him to only 1 made 3-pointer. So the scouting report was really good. Hunter was right. Like, you had to pick your poison, and they were like, oh, James makes some shots, we're going to be in trouble. He made some shots, and obviously they were in trouble. I thought this is a well-played game. Duke's for real.
Duke is for real because there were a couple of key things we said Arizona had to do to have a chance to win this game. Caleb Love needed to go off. He had 35 points. He was plus 50% from the field, and he had 0 turnovers. They needed to increase the tempo of this game. They scored 93 points, and they still lost. That's how good Duke is. Duke's, what have we been talking about all night? The national championship contenders have to be able to win games in different ways. We've been talking about Duke as a defensive team. Guess what? They're a heck of an offensive team, too. They just dropped 100 on Arizona and did it with a brilliant offensive effort across the board.
Tim, 2 teams scored 100 points tonight. Duke and Alabama. They're clashing in the Elite 8 for a spot to get to San Antonio. How do these 2 teams stack up?
Well, the way Alabama shot the ball tonight, they were going to beat anybody in college basketball. I mean, it was one of the greatest shooting performances, forget about in the history of the tournament, just in the history of college basketball altogether.
60%.
You know, so they scored 75 points from the 3-point line. It doesn't even sound real. So is that going to be hard to replicate? Probably. Is it going to be even harder to do against Duke? More than likely so. But, you know, it's going to be fun to watch. I know this is a game that, Hunter, is not going to be played in the 60s. This is a game that you're going to go out there and make shots and have to score. I like Duke, but Alabama, they're going to need to have another miraculous shooting game.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, this will be a very fast-paced game, but I think Duke will be able to give Alabama a little bit more trouble, especially defensively, than BYU did. I think because of, you know, you got guys like Cooper Flagg who are so versatile defensively. I think that'll be a big advantage for Duke because they'll be able to switch a little bit more, and I think that'll help kind of try to limit Alabama's 3-point shooting a little bit.
How is this game going to be won?
By controlling the tempo. And Duke's going to have to do a better job of that on Saturday than they did tonight. They allowed Arizona to get going in the open floor. If they let Alabama get going in the open floor, they're going to be at risk of losing this game. And this is what makes Duke's defense so good. They are exceptionally switchable. And that forces other teams to play a lot of ISO basketball. Alabama can fall into that trap. And when the ball stops moving, those threes don't go down with the same level of regularity. So that is the path for Duke to get to San Antonio in a Final Four.
Who are you like in this spot, Tim?
I mean, I do come into this region, so I'm going to pick them in this game. I'm just curious, can you do this again? I mean, because it looked like every time Holloway shot the ball, Sears shot the ball, it was going in. You know, was that just a freak game? More than likely it was, but can they repeat it again? The pace is going to be fun. I just love that we're playing basketball where it's no longer guys stepping in, taking charges. It's no longer that, like, grind-out affair. It's fun to watch. Guys are making plays, and this is going to be a really exciting game. I think it's impossible to pick against Duke.
Hunter, you're one of the few teams to beat Duke this season. You beat Duke earlier in the year with Kansas. How do you beat Duke if you're Alabama?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, when the game gets tight. You saw it today, you know, there was a couple freshman mistakes that Duke made, you know, a couple, you know, hook and holds and stuff like that. Obviously, Bradley for Arizona had one, but I think, Duke might have gotten away with a hook and hold. I think plays like that, might cost them, especially when the game is super close. So I think, that's something to look out for. But like Tim said, I think we got to see, is Alabama able to capable of, having that shooting night 2 nights in a row? I think that'll be something to see if they can duplicate that when they play.
How difficult is that for Mark Sears to be able to replicate? I'm not going to ask for 10 threes from him, but if you get 6.
Adam, besides making threes, how do they win this?
Duke made 58% of their threes tonight, too. So let's just start here. Neither one of these teams is going to shoot like they did tonight on Saturday. So let's just start there.
Perfect.
It would it's going to be very difficult for either team to match it. So it's how else do you win if you don't get hot and make all your shots? I think that's what it's going to come down to. But to Tim's point, what's great about this is you have 2 of the best teams in college basketball. These are the big games that everybody wants to see. And this is the flip side to Cinderella not winning on the first week, is now we get the biggest teams in college basketball, the biggest players in college basketball, and it's going to be terrific theater. 1 versus 2 in the East region. That game, Duke and Alabama, set for Saturday night on TBS. That is set to be an absolute thriller. And you know that Duke owns Alabama in basketball, 8-1 all time, and they're set for the showdown on Saturday night. Show me the region, show me the bracket. Here it is. Duke and Alabama 1 versus 2 for a spot in the Final Four in San Antonio, again Saturday night on TBS. And of course, you can rely on us, full highlights and analysis when that game goes final here on CBS Sports HQ. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. It is 81-78 right now. Texas Tech is in front. They were down by as many as 16 with 10 minutes to play. Texas Tech with an all-time comeback. Not over yet. We're in overtime. Our first overtime game of this NCAA tournament. 1:34 to play right now. When this game goes final, we're going to break it down. It has been absolutely bonkers in San Francisco. Keep it locked.
Float a swing in the rear view. That means time for the Texas two-step. Round one of the Texas Children's Houston Open. A rainy, dreary day for all involved. Some wind as well, causing issues.
Here are the stories making headlines. The NBA All-Star Game mini tournament will not return in 2026. Commissioner Adam Silver said the tournament, quote, was a miss. The All-Star Tournament pitted 3 teams of All-Stars and a team of Rising Stars. Silver said the league is going back to the drawing board ahead of the All-Star Game's move from TNT to NBC next season. Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter will not work out at the Nittany Lions Pro Day on Friday, still recovering from a stress reaction in his right foot that was discovered at the Combine. Our Ryan Wilson has Carter projected 2nd overall to the Cleveland Browns in his latest mock draft on CBSSports.com. 5-star power forward Koa Pete has committed to Arizona. Chose the Wildcats over Arizona State, Baylor, Houston, and Texas. Pete is the number 3 power forward in the class of 2025, ranked number 8 overall, according to our friends at 24/7 Sports. And the Flyers have fired head coach John Tortorella. Spent the past 3 seasons in Philly, failing to make the playoffs in his first 2 seasons. The Flyers are on track to miss the playoffs for the 5th consecutive season. Currently in last place in the Metro, sit 10 points out of the final wildcard spot. Assistant Brad Shaw will serve as the interim coach for the rest of the year. Those are your HQ headlines. Hope you had the over. The Indiana Pacers set a franchise record for points in a game and 3-pointers in a game in a 162-109 win over the Wizards. The 162 points, most for an NBA team in regulation since 2008. The Pacers, 27 of 47 from beyond the arc. Tyrese Halliburton led 9 Indiana players in double figures with 29 points in the blowout win. Scores finish in San Francisco. We're in overtime. DJ Wagner up and in to tie it at 83. Arkansas and Texas Tech in an absolute battle. Darian Williams backing down his defender. Up and in. Too easy. 85-83. 7 seconds left. DJ Wagner with the basketball. Guarded by Elijah Hawkins. Wagner for the tie. And Texas Tech rallies from down 16 with 10.5 to play to win it in overtime, 85-83. I mean, you want to talk about some big-time buckets down the stretch from Texas Tech. They went on a 16-3 run over the final 4 minutes of regulation. They were terrible from 3 in the first half, 3 of 16. Christian Anderson hit a huge 3 to take the lead. Darian Williams to force overtime at 72 all. And we go to overtime, and it turns out it is losing time for John Calipari, because consider this, he had been 35-0 in the NCAA tournament when leading by 6 points at the break. They led by 7, and they come up short in San Francisco. Back here in studio, Hakeem Dermish, Hunter Dickinson, Tim Doyle, Adam Finkelstein. What a game, Tim.
Wow. The execution wasn't great. The shooting wasn't great all game long. Texas Tech really struggled from 3, only shot 25% from 3 for the game. But the last 6 possessions were incredible. Arkansas was down 3. They ran an amazing play at him, got an open 3. DJ Wagner made a really tough drive. We saw JT Toppin step up. And then you called it, big fella. Williams, your guy, he got the mismatch. Anything Arkansas could have done differently down the stretch? Maybe send the double, get the ball out of his hands, or was that just a great shot?
Yeah, I think, when we played them, we tried that strategy. We sent a double team against Williams every time, and they really made us pay from 3. And so I think the smart decision was to go one-on-one because of Arkansas's versatility. I mean, they switched with put Carter Knox on him, and that's a really good matchup. But I think he made a freshman mistake by letting him get back to his right hand. I think in that situation, you got to try to make him go over his weak shoulder. And in that case, you've let my guy, my player to watch, get back to his strong hand. It's not going to really end good for you.
Wow, what an amazing fight in this game, Adam. I thought this game was over, but sure enough, it wasn't.
I didn't think it was over.
You don't like Texas Tech. I love Texas Tech.
That's in the words of Tim Doyle. When he likes something, he'll go, I don't like this team. I love this team.
Well, I'll tell you.
I love Texas Tech.
I'll tell you this. I didn't like the way Darian Williams played for about 35 minutes, but I loved the way he played in 2 big possessions, knocking down that 3 to force overtime, and then that last possession, which you just called. He didn't settle. He got all the way to point-blank range. And then the one player I want to highlight, Eli Hawkins, was 1 of 10 from the floor. But the defensive possession he had on that very last possession of the game, where he beats DJ Wagner to the spot, shuts him down on the right hand, and then recovers to contest what would have forced a second overtime. That was a big-time defensive play from Eli Hawkins, and that was the game.
Yeah, I never want to be critical of college players, but now that they're getting paid so much, I feel a little bit more like I can be critical. I thought DJ Wagner's shot selection at the end of regulation kind of took, I don't want to call it a throw, but he was kind of running out of bounds. He just kind of threw up kind of a half-like jump hook. I thought it was a terrible shot. And then at the end of the game, it's a 2-point game. You know it, I know it, the American people know it. Everyone on this desk knew he was not passing the ball. So everyone's standing around watching him, and I thought he took a really difficult step-back shot. And, I've known DJ's dad, DeJuan Wagner, since we were in 5th grade. I played bitty ball against him in Camden, New Jersey. The kid's a tremendous talent. But late in the games, the best thing you can do when you're a guard is try to make a play for someone else, because everyone is watching the ball. I thought their execution at the end of regulation, the end of overtime, which is Wagner going one-on-one, was pretty poor.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times in this tournament where a guy will just hold on to the basketball late, not kick out.
Pass it!
Yeah, just
pass it!
Make the extra pass. Make the extra pass. There was time on the clock. John L. Davis was sensational in this game, Adam, for Arkansas. 30 points, his best game of the season as they come up short.
He and Carter Knox were both terrific, and it's a shame for those 2 players that they didn't get the win, because had they gotten the win, had one of those Williams buckets not gone in, we'd be talking about those 2 guys. Nelly Davis, remember, he brought He's been to a Final Four before. This was his first season at Arkansas. He got off to that slow start, but when different players, Boogie Fland, started going out of the lineup, he really stepped up, and he continued to get better as the season went on. We saw all kinds of mid-range action from him. He forced long closeouts. He was able to score at different levels. So a terrific final showing, but ultimately it wasn't enough because of Williams' heroics down the stretch.
We finally got the madness right there. We got our first overtime game of the tournament. And Hunter, I know you'd rather be playing right now, sitting here, but at least the team that you lost to got knocked out, right?
Does that make you secretly happy that the team that knocked you out is gone?
Yeah.
It can go both ways. You can look at it like, well, we lost to a team that made a deep run, so like obviously we lost to a worthy opponent. But yeah, I don't think I had any ill will towards Arkansas. I think, like you said, it's March Madness for a reason. I think this just was a super gutsy win by Texas Tech.
Heck of a win.
Down by 16, nothing going for you. Everything you're shooting feels like it's going out. Arkansas playing really well. This was a super gutsy win for Texas Tech.
What a win for Grant McCasland and Texas Tech, down 16. They win at 85-83 in our first overtime game of March Madness. Get back out to San Francisco. Welcome in one of the men who called this game, Dan Bonner. Dan, what did you see on that last couple possessions there?
Well, Texas Tech down the stretch, they went to their guys. Toppin played really well down the stretch. Williams played really well down the stretch. And, Federico, he came off the bench at a key time, and he had 7 offensive rebounds, a couple of dunks. I thought that really helped turn the momentum around. And then the Hawkins kid, Elijah Hawkins, who struggled shooting the whole day. I mean, good heavens, he made a huge 3. It's just, as the game wore on, Texas Tech just hung in there, and then they're the ones who made the big shots at the end.
What's it say about Grant McCasland's kids to come all the way back from being down 16 with 10 minutes to play and win it in overtime?
Well, it says they have a lot of resilience. I mean, that they never gave up. They just kept playing despite the fact, particularly in the first half, that a lot of shots weren't going. They had some open shots that they missed, but they just hung in there. I mean, they knew that Arkansas wasn't going to make all their threes like they did in the first half, and so you just hang in there. It's a 40-minute game, in this case 45 minutes, but it was a very impressive win by Texas Tech.
Dan, you watched Florida beat Maryland earlier in the night. How does Florida now match up with Texas Tech when you see them again on Saturday?
Well, I'm telling you now, this Florida team was as impressive as maybe any team that I've seen all year, except for Duke. Florida, they've got size. Everybody talks about their guards, and justifiably so, but they're big guys. I mean, good heavens. They've got great depth. They out-rebounded Maryland. It's a pretty good rebounding team. They out-rebounded them 42-20. They shot the 3 very well. I think this is a tough matchup for Texas Tech because Toppin, the starting center, he is of course, the Big 12 Player of the Year, but he's 6'9", and Darian Williams, he plays really well. He's big and strong, but he's only 6'7", and they're going to be going up against, they've got guys 6'11", 7 foot coming off the bench. They've got a deep 4-man rotation on the inside. That's going to be hard to deal with.
Looking forward to it. Florida and Texas Tech in the Elite Eight. Dan Bonner here with us on CBS Sports HQ. Dan, thanks. Appreciate the call. That was incredible. What a game. That was awesome. How about this game? The second largest comeback in Sweet 16 history. The only one that was larger was 06 UCLA against Gonzaga, winning by 17. Texas Tech onto the Elite Eight for the first time since 2019. Coming up, much more ahead from this wild finish in San Francisco. Grant McCasland and the Red Raiders marching on to the Elite Eight. Much more from the site, and full highlights coming up here on CBS Sports HQ. Keep it locked.
Wagner defending. And now it's Darian Williams.
And this is who you want.
Knox will pick him up. Williams corkscrews up, off, and down. It's a 2-point lead. Final seconds. Wagner with it. Driving on Hawkins. Firing off. Texas Tech has won.
The Red Raiders rally from down 16 in the second half to force overtime and win it 85-83. Darian Williams hits a 3 to force overtime and hits the would-be game winner in overtime as Texas Tech moves on to play Florida in the Elite Eight, their first Elite Eight appearance since 2019. They lost the national title game to Virginia that year. Grant McCasland and the Red Raiders moving on from the Big 12. Back here with our guys, Adam Finkelstein, Hunter Dickinson, Tim Doyle. That game was awesome. It was our first overtime game that we had this March. Everybody's asking for the madness. Tim, we got the madness. What'd you see down the stretch?
Well, it wasn't necessarily pretty, and it didn't look pretty all game long for Texas Tech. They trailed by as many as 16, and frankly, I thought they were dead in the water. They were not making shots. They only shot 25% from three, but give them credit. They stuck with it. They hit the offensive glass, and then they made shots when it counted. They figured out a way. If you're Arkansas right now, oh boy. Oof, that is a tough pill to swallow. But the execution from Texas Tech down the stretch. Somebody up here had a player to watch that made a good play. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Texas Tech really just grinded out. Like you said, in the first half, it looked like nothing was going right for them. They couldn't hit a shot. And, you know, Darian Williams, I mean, I think he was 4 for 22 at the time when he hit that three. And then, you know, 7 for 25. And gets the ball at the end of the game. You get the Big 12 player, the Big 12 player of the year on your team, and you give it to him. I think that just shows the trust that Coach Grant has in him, and that's the reason why, you know, he's my player to watch. He's a primetime player, and primetime players make primetime plays.
Adam, and you saw the defense there in the end by Elijah Hawkins to disrupt that shot from
Hunter Dickinson's high school teammate, yes. Elijah Hawkins. Yes. Who, here's what he did. He beat DJ Wagner to the spot. DJ was trying to get downhill to his right hand. He beat him to the spot, and then he got back in the play to contest the jumper. But here's the other thing I saw. Those late game situations, Texas Tech, they ran an inverted ball screen. They got a switch, so Williams ended up with Knox on him, and then he was able to overpower him in the post. That was a diagrammed set. Arkansas comes down the other end, and they played isolation ball. 4 guys just watching DJ Wagner go. There was no scheme there. That was so I almost feel bad for DJ Wagner in the situation he was put in, but let's phrase it as this: a heck of a defensive play from Elijah Hawkins instead.
All right, so Hunter, we look ahead to their next round matchup against Florida. You played Texas Tech, of course, in the Big 12. How can Texas Tech beat the Gators? Because a lot of people pick Florida to win the national championship or at least get to the Final Four.
I think it'll have to be similar to how they beat us in Allen Fieldhouse. They shot 14 of 42 from three. I think that's going to be a similar recipe for success for Texas Tech. They're going to have to shoot it way better than they did tonight. You know, if they hit some threes, they have a chance. But Florida, you know, they can overpower them with their talent and their depth. I think it'll be interesting to see if Texas Tech is able to shoot it better from the three-point line in the next game.
Yeah, if you're Grant McCasland, you have to just put 2 big words on the whiteboard. House, money. That's it. Wait, we're still playing? Holy cow. Wait, we got the #1 seed? Hey, boys, no one expected us to be here before the season. Everybody's picking Florida. You want me to give a speech? What's he making this year?
I love a speech.
McCasland. Yeah, $4 million. Grant, come here. Boys, no one thought we were going to be here. Nobody. And now we got Florida. Heck, we were down 16. John Calipari's never blown a lead like this at halftime. And now we're still playing. Guys, go out there, relax. Go make some shots. Let's move the ball around. Darian Williams has got to be better than this. Oh, this is like, don't act like you won. Now you got a free game waiting for you. I think Florida's going to win this game, but if I'm Texas Tech, you play Adam loose as can be.
Well, TD, I hope you're right, because quite frankly, they weren't loose on the offensive end for the vast majority of this game. They were just 8 of 32 from behind the three-point line, and we saw it, guys. There just wasn't the same rhythm or flow to their offensive end of the floor as there typically is, and it's going to have to be different against Florida. We'll see what Alex Condon's ankle looks like. I think that's an interesting subplot to this one, but Florida's got too much firepower for Texas Tech to not be at their best. They weren't at their best tonight, and they got away with it. They're going to have to be at their best for 40 minutes against Florida.
Texas Tech and Florida for a spot in the Final Four. John Calipari was trying to lead another team to a Final Four, a fourth team in his Hall of Fame career. He comes up short, 35-0 in the NCAA tournament when leading by 6 points at the half. They had a 7-point lead, now 35-1. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Elite Eight, Saturday and Sunday. Oh, yeah. TBS, CBS, TNT, True TV. And, of course, we are your home for full highlights and analysis right here on CBS Sports HQ as we take you all the way to San Antonio. Coming up, Grant McCasland of the Red Raiders moving on to the Elite Eight. Full highlights on the way. You're watching CBS Sports HQ. Keep it locked. Coverage continues here on CBS Sports HQ. Grant McCasland and Texas Tech at the podium.
College basketball game, and watching Arkansas play on film, it just seemed like every game that they were in, there was these pretty dramatic runs of teams finding ways to either catch up or lose the lead, and they're such a dynamic team. Coach Cal's doing an unbelievable job with their belief, and they got basically their full roster back, even though it was limited. And so we knew going into the game that, man, it was just going to be difficult to defend them. And the way they started the game and the shots they were making, we made some decisions to go under ball screens, and it just felt like we were too passive. But that's to their credit, man. They came out and punched us good. And I just kept telling these guys in timeouts that we're going to win the game. And D5, I don't know what he started the game out, 0 for quite a few from 3, and Christian was 0 for. And I'm just telling them we're going to make them when it matters. And I believed it with all my heart. And that's Red Raider basketball. It doesn't matter what the score is, what's stacked against us. I think we got down 16 at one point in the second half, and telling JT we got to start getting stops and rebound. And I thought one possession was just huge, was Federico in there just getting, I don't know how many offensive rebounds he got on that one possession. And I thought that showed the grit of Red Raider basketball. And Chris ended up making a 3 at the end of it, and that started I thought the real belief that we were going to win the game. Man, what a tremendous atmosphere, and it's an awesome opportunity to be on this team with these guys, because nobody believes more in each other than this group, and it's really a blessing to be a part of.
We'll open it up to questions for the players. Players first.
Darian, kind of struggled from the field there early in the game, but the last few minutes of the second half and obviously in overtime just took over. What would just kind of go through your mind there at the end of the game?
Just stay aggressive and stop settling for threes. Obviously, it wasn't going in, but, I was shooting open ones, so they'll fall. But just trying to get to the rim. They're pretty long and lengthy, but they're not, very built, I would say. So Coach kept just saying, going through their chest, and like you said, I'm going to make them when it matters.
Jared Johnson inside the Red Raiders. Christian, you really got it going late in the game. How did that happen? Did simply just knocking down shots, or were plays run for you and just kind of break that down?
Yeah, obviously the past couple games I haven't been shooting it very well. And yeah, at the start of this game, I started out 0 for, like Coach said, but I think at the defensive end, when we started to get stops as a team and when momentum kind of shifted in our favor, I think that's when I started to knock down shots, and then the rest is how it played out. But yeah, at the defensive end is how I started making shots. So the momentum shifted our way, and then yeah, it worked in our favor.
Question for Darian. How does it feel to represent and come through clutch like that, just 90 minutes away from where you grew up at in Sacramento?
It was great. I got about 30 to 40 family and friends here, so it was just great to see their faces. Being so far away from home, they don't get to come to a lot of games, so just having everybody there felt good. But these guys are my family, are my extended family, so it just felt good.
Jackson.
Yeah, it had to. Hit some big boy shots down the stretch. Darian Williams had 20 points. They needed all of them as they rallied to win 85-83. It is the second largest comeback in Sweet 16 history, behind only the one UCLA pulled off in 06, coming back from a 17-point deficit. Texas Tech moving on to the Elite Eight to take on Florida Saturday night back in San Francisco. When we return, we head to Newark, New Jersey. Matt Norlander joins us with a live report as Duke marches on to the Elite Eight, now facing Alabama. That's next on CBS Sports HQ. Do you love love? Of course you do. Caleb Love knocked out Duke in the 2022 Final Four with North Carolina, looking to replicate the result on his new squad. Arizona in this year's Sweet 16. Blue Devils looking to reach back-to-back Elite Eights. Cooper Flagg doing work. The super freshman spins mid-range. Oh, so smooth. Duke up by 3. Ensuing Arizona possession. Love getting buckets. Sinks the 3, tied at 42. Love with 14 in the first half. Final 5 seconds of the first half. Loose ball. Given to Flagg for 3. Got it. Beats the first half buzz. Duke into the half up 6. Flagg with the season high 18 points in the first half. Early second. Flagg. No look to Sion James. Bottom of your screen, bottom of the net. Oh, yeah. Another look at the no look. Duke by 12. Less than a minute later, Flagg to Kaman Malawach. Go get it, young fella. Duke up by 11. Minute later, Flagg. Loose ball. Another lob to Malawach. Watch this. Duke up 15. Flagg doing it all. That's why he's the projected #1 overall pick in the upcoming NBA draft. Mid-second, Flagg 1 dribble. 3 ball. Knock it down. Duke by 15, led by as many as 19. Here comes Arizona. Here comes Caleb Love to the bucket. Wildcats down 10. Love up to 31. Scored the last 15 for the Wildcats. 6 minutes to go. Down 11. Jaden Bradley to Henry Vasar. Dunks it down. Arizona within single digits. The young Wildcat fan loves it. Come back, come back. KJ Lewis. Layup swatted out of bounds by Flagg. Get it out. One of 3 blocks on the night for Flagg. Ensuing Wildcats possession. Love dunks it down. 35 points. Most points in an NCAA tournament game in Arizona history. They cut the deficit to 5, but ensuing Duke possession. Flagg to James. My name is Sion James, and I get buckets. Duke up 10. That was the last made field goal by Duke in the final 4 minutes. They'd ice the game at the line, 100-93. Flagg pours in 30 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. First player with a 36-7 game in a tournament game since Mookie Blaylock in 1989. Mookie! Duke advances to the Elite Eight for the 3rd time in the last 4 seasons. Duke 11-0 all-time in the NCAA tournament in the state of New Jersey. They love New Jersey. And Arizona now 1-6 in the last 7 games against 1 seeds in the big dance. Duke on to the Elite Eight. And we are on to Newark, New Jersey at the Rock, Providence, the Prudential Center. Matt Norlander going from Providence to Newark. He's just all over. It's where in the world is Matt Norlander? Well, there he is in Newark. Matt, your takeaways from Duke's win, because they couldn't buy a field goal late, but they're able to ice it down the stretch at the free throw line.
Yes, the takeaways on the Duke end of it, I was able to talk with Shire one-on-one after, and it's not the most glamorous of quotes here, but he said the team had been mentally prepared and steady and ready for a fight like this. He actually went back, Duke dominated in the ACC, but he said, listen, we did have moments this season. We were down at the half at Louisville. North Carolina gave us a big push. We faced some adversity with a loss against Kansas, and those moments really showed up for us here when Arizona made a big push. But quite clearly, Cooper Flagg is the story on the Duke side of it. 30 points, 7 assists, 6 boards, 3 blocks. He puts up a stat line across the board that is basically unprecedented and truly unprecedented for a freshman. He's just incredible. And the wonder of it all with Cooper Flagg is he just does not seem to emote with his teammates he emotes on the court when a big play happens, but he doesn't have a lot to say about how great he is, which makes him even more fascinating to me. But this, you could make the case, was the best game of his career. Extremely well timed. Arizona gave a good push. It was an awesome environment here. Duke gets it done, and so for the 2nd straight season, it will play in the Elite Eight.
On to the Elite Eight to take on Alabama, and the 2 teams that scored 100 points on that court right there. You saw Alabama score 113. You see Duke score 100 points. Their 22nd win this season when you talk about 20 points this season for Cooper Flagg. Look, this is going to be a fantastic matchup there in Newark. Alabama and Duke, 1 versus 2. How do they stack up?
Well, Alabama just, had a record-setting night, of course, and I asked Nate Oates afterward, does he think that, there's a chance some of this can transfer over? They're going to do their absolute best. Alabama's good enough to beat Duke. Unquestionably, they've got the 3-point arsenal, the highest-scoring team in the country. How do they match up? Well, Alabama does have some size down low. It does have some shooting. It has the guard play as well. And Duke has been, a tremendous team this season, the most talented team in the sport. We got a really good look at, Con Knippel played well again tonight. Duke even won in spite of some foul trouble overall. It should be an incredible matchup. We get a 1 versus 2. Bama's got the offense to do it. I wrote about it tonight at CBSSports.com. They can win a national title, and they don't even need to be a team that makes 25 threes to do it. This just happened to be a record-setting performance. So it's going to be incredible theater. It could well be a game in which the winning team needs to get to 90 points. I can't wait to be in the building on Saturday night back here courtside to watch it play out. It should be awesome. I gotta tag it one real quick thing here, Hakeem, with Caleb Love, though. I was able to speak with him one-on-one and Tommy Lloyd one-on-one, and I got to say, he was super impressive in defeat. He kind of has a unique career. He knocked out Duke in the Final Four in Coach K's career, goes for 35 on this stage tonight, leaves it all out there. And Tommy Lloyd told me afterwards, few players that I've ever been around have given me as much joy or have been as rewarding to coach as Caleb Love. And it was extremely impressive to see him on the floor, and then to see Caleb Love reflecting on his career in the locker room after the game.
Heck of a run by Arizona, comes up short. They lose by 7 to Duke, 193. I mean, look, they scored 93 points and they still lost. I mean, that's tough. Duke outlasts them in the end. It is Alabama and Duke for a spot in the Final Four. Matt Norlander from Newark, New Jersey. Matt, appreciate it. Get yourself some sleep now. That guy never sleeps. He's just working college basketball. It's the time of the year. He's working. He's on the podcast. Join Matt Norlander, Gary Parrish on the Eye on College Basketball podcast, covering all the big storylines in the big dance. It's the Eye on College Basketball podcast. Download and follow today. Still ahead. You got to see it. You got to see the full highlight. It was awesome. Texas Tech coming back from 16 as they shoot down the Razorbacks to get to the Elite Eight.
1, let's go.
Ashley, did you know We Need to Talk is going into its 10th season, and we are bringing a digital show every single week.
So we're going to highlight women in sports, whether you're playing, whether you're commentating, whether you're working behind the scenes. I'm looking forward to us having the platform to lead the charge in that.
I'm so excited to talk with you every single week on We Need to Talk now.
Because everyone's in for a treat. It's going to be fun.
Get ready.
Wait a second. I thought we were going tubing.
All 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies and Knuckles are now streaming on Paramount Plus.
And everyone loves it.
Every adventure.
Just try to keep up.
Every face-off.
This ends now.
And every moment that will have you saying,
Where have you been? My entire life!
It's showtime.
All 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies and the entire Sonic universe are now streaming on Paramount Plus.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap,
we're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
There are some things in life that you can't quite explain.
An extraordinary story.
Maybe it sounds flawless, looks effortless, or makes you feel like a part of history.
The first ever goal for BFC.
And when all of those phenomenons come together, it's perfect. Pitch perfect.
The world of sports never sleeps, and neither do we. Welcome to CBS Sports HQ Morning Buzz, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You can catch up on the latest storylines and highlights with expert analysis to get you dialed in. So grab your coffee and kickstart your day off right with Morning Buzz only on CBS Sports HQ.
What's going on, sports fans? Joe Musso alongside Akeem Dermish. Watch as we try and fit 90 minutes into an hour. Opening day in the Bigs, wild finishes in the association, but first, all the madness of March.
This is March, Joe. I've been waiting to say that. We get our first overtime game of the NCAA Tournament. Razorbacks and Red Raiders, oh my, we are in San Francisco. And what a treat this was. From 0-5 in the SEC to the Sweet 16. With a win, Coach John Calipari can become the first head coach to lead 4 programs to the Elite 8. 10-seed Arkansas trying to upset Grant McCasland and 3-seed Texas Tech. Late first half, Arkansas up 8. DJ Wagner feeds John L. Davis. Buries a 3. Arkansas up by 11. Razorbacks averaged 7 threes per game. They made 7 in the first half. Go into the half up 7. Coach Cal 35-0 in the NCAA tournament when leading by 6 points at halftime. Store that away. Early second, Carter Knox driving and dunking. Razorbacks up 11, looking strong. Just under 13 minutes to go. Arkansas by 12. Trevin Brazil driving, throws it down, plus the foul. Up 15 after the made free throw, led by as many as 16. 16! Under 5 to go. It's now an 11-point game. Billy Richmond to Davis. Razorbacks up 13. Davis finished with a season-high 30. Ensuing Texas Tech possession. Christian Anderson for 3. Buries it! Within 10. Now 2 to go. Down 6. Elijah Hawkins to Anderson. Knocks that down. Texas Tech down 3. A 10-0 run for the Red Raiders. Started the game 3 of 24 from 3. Now within 2 in a matter of minutes. Next Arkansas possession. Knox in the corner. Bottom of your screen. Bottom of the net. Arkansas by 9. Next Texas Tech possession. Anderson for 3. Got it. Back within 3. Coach Cal's family. Oh, the emotions of March. 20 seconds to go. Down 3. Darian Williams. Oh, rattles in using every part of the bucket. And we're tied at 72. A 16-3 Red Raiders run. 5 seconds to go. DJ Wagner for the win. And we are going to overtime as Texas Tech comes from 16 down to force it. First overtime game in this NCAA tournament. 4 minutes to go in OT. Knox, wild layup plus the foul, up 2. Under 2 minutes to go in OT. Texas Tech now up 1. JT Toppin. There's no stopping Toppin. Hook shot good. Up 3, their largest lead of the game. Oh my goodness, the drama. 40 seconds to go. Arkansas down 2. Wagner drives, and we are tied at 83. Ensuing Texas Tech possession. Williams working, up and in, and the Red Raiders have the lead up 2. Ensuing possession for Arkansas. Wagner contested. Hawkins with a hand in his face. And Texas Tech from 16 down takes down Arkansas. 85-83 in overtime. The third largest comeback in Sweet 16 history. Are you kidding me? They outscored Arkansas 16-3 over the final 4 minutes of regulation to force overtime and win it. Their first Elite Eight appearance in 2019. Got all the way to the title game that year. Lost to Virginia for Coach Cal. Coming up short. Remember I told you he had been 35-0 in the NCAA tournament when leading by 6 points at the half. Now 35-1.
First of all, I told them how proud I was of them, and there's nothing they could do to disappoint me. Yeah, there were plays I wish they'd have done different or made this, but these kids gave everything, even in this game. They gave everything they had to try to win the game. The other stuff, you know, I need to sit down with these guys, but you really think tonight's the night or tomorrow morning's the, I mean, we're all kind of raw right now. I mean, I think they had visions of us continuing to play, and so did I. But this, it's only going to be one team standing, and, you know, there is a point that we need to sit down and talk about, again, returning. We got some freshmen, and what do we do in the portal? You know, we had names of guys out there, but I haven't done anything, haven't made a call, and I won't until I speak to my guys. Who's coming back? Who is it? You know, I think a couple guys will put their name in the draft. I think a couple guys are done. Their eligibility's done. So you're talking 4 or 5 guys, and let me sit down with them and see what that is. But I'm going to say it again for everybody. For me, this was as rewarding a year, and I feel like crap right now. But this was as rewarding a year as I've had in all my years. Now, I've had teams that were better and finished better and national champions and all that stuff. This was a different reward. And for me as a coach, you know, we had to adjust and learn, and it was an experience for me to learn. Like, okay, how do I hold them accountable but not bury them? How do I lift them up yet challenge them? How do I make them uncomfortable so they can learn to be comfortable in those situations? That was an interesting path for me and my staff. And my staff was outstanding. Never wavered, never splintered, nothing. They stayed the course. They worked with kids. They met them, watched tape with them, talked to them, built them up. But they were good kids.
Thank
you for that.
Yeah, it was a heck of a season for Arkansas. 0-5 in SEC play to the Sweet 16.
Sports.